creative friends, Melissa Ullmann here in Minnesota, and I have a very quick and simple 5-minute layout I would love to share with you. To create this layout, you are just going to need one piece of designer paper and one piece of cardstock. And then I'll show you how to embellish once we get the layout all put together. So here are a couple of examples to share with you. This one here is using the Daydreamer collection. And so once we have it all cut, you'll have 2 vertical photos and 2 horizontal photos. And then this one here is using the Beneath the Pines collection. And then this last sample here that I've created is using the Genuine collection. But I'm going to show you today how to create this layout using the Picture This collection. So what we are going to do is we are going to pick out a piece of designer paper and cardstock. But in picking out your piece of designer paper, we for sure want to make sure that one side has pattern and that the other side is more of a tonal piece for the matting of the photos. And then your cardstock, you want to make sure is something that is going to go with both sides. It's your base piece. It's what you're going to be seeing around all of the cut pieces. So you know, Diane has shown us how to cut mats using our trimmer. And I'm going to use the same sort of concept. We're going to take the designer piece of paper and we are going to just cut out 4 inches. So we're going to cut 4 and then we're going to go to 6 inches on the trimmer here. But if you were not aware, from this little line on the side of our housing unit to the very end of the trimmer is 1 inch. So I want to stop at 6 inches, but I'm going to take my housing unit to 7 inches because that's 1 inch further. So I'll take the housing unit, stop the edge of it at 7 inches, and then I'm going to lift up, and I've just cut this piece here. So now I'm going to take and rotate this piece of paper, and I'm going to line this up at 4 inches, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut down to, I want to stop at 6 inches, so I'll use the housing unit stopping at 7 inches, where you can see here on the ruler. So now I've got that. I'm going to take and turn it again, lining up at 4 inches, cutting to 6, so taking your housing unit edge to 7, and then lifting up there. So we've got 3 sides cut. Now we're going to turn it one last time, and we're going to put it at 4 inches, and then again cutting to 6, but taking the edge of your housing unit to 7, lifting up, and now we have all 4 sides cut like that. Now we're going to turn this piece of paper over, and we can see the cuts a little bit more clearly from the back side here, but we're going to turn this over, and now we're going to cut at 6 inches. So we're going to line the edge of the paper up here at 6 inches, and we're going to cut to this line, which is also at 4 inches. So we're going to take the edge of our housing unit to 5. So we'll go to 5 and we'll lift up. If for some reason, so you're going to take out and set aside one of your mats. If for some reason you go over a little bit further on here, I'm going to show you a trick when we're done to cover up those cuts that might go over the end. So we're just going to rotate our paper, do the same thing. We'll cut at 6 inches there. Going to 4, so either stopping at that line or taking the edge of your housing unit to 5. So taking that out, and again we'll just rotate it again, so you're going to do that at all 4 sides, going to 6 inches, stopping at 4 like so, and then we'll do the one last piece here. So then we'll take and cut 4, so each piece out of the corners you're cutting is 4 by 6, and do it like that. So now you're left with this plus sign, if you will, piece of paper. So we're going to then take our cardstock which I picked a black cardstock, I'm going to turn this back over so that my cameras are what is showing, and then I'm going to adhere it like that. And these cameras are going all different directions, so it wouldn't necessarily matter which angle that you put it on. But I'm just going to take my regular adhesive. You can use repositionable if you want, if in the event you are going to need to reposition it on your cardstock. But I'll just add a couple of little pieces here of the, all right, so now I'll turn this over and then I'll just line it up on the edges here so it lines up nicely at the edge of each side of the cardstock, and then just put this down like so. So now I'm going to go back to the mats. So then I'm going to take these mats, if we put them in just like they are, which you could, most definitely, but we're going to take and layer these 4 pieces together. And then we'll take our trimmer, so again lining them up, and we're going to cut off 1/2 inch from the length. So we'll cut off 1/2 inch there, and then we're going to rotate this piece, keeping those together, and we'll cut off 1/2 inch from this side. Okay, so now what we have are mats that are 5.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and we're going to place those into the corners like so. So I'll go ahead and I will adhere those down. So I put that in that corner there, and this is where it's nice where you can see the cardstock through that piece of paper, or I shouldn't say through it, but around it. So whatever color cardstock you have is going to look like the border around there. Okay, so just center that on there like so. All right, and just trying to keep the angles all going the same direction, but oh, there we go. There we go. What I mean about the angles is, and you won't notice once you put the photos on, but I'm talking about the angles on the pattern of the paper. So then we'll just add these last couple here, like so. And then, of course, we want to add a title and do a little bit of embellishing. We want to keep this layout very simple, so our embellishing is going to be minimal. So we'll add this down here in the corner. But what I did is, if for some reason you overcut when you were cutting out the 4x6s on the piece of paper and that you can see those cuts there, I'm going to show you how you can cover that up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our mat and our circle custom cutting system, or the custom cutting system with the circle patterns, and then I am going to take and first of all we want to add a title to the center of it, and this is one of our variety mats, and I felt it went really well with the camera, so smile, you're on camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to center it with the large circle, which is this guy here, and so center it around that circle there, and then I'll take the red blade, so the inside of the large circle with the red blade, and I'll just cut that out like so. So now I have that. But then I'm going to take a large mat, and I'm going to take one of the large mats that coordinate with this, but then also goes with the layout. So I could use the polka dots here. I could use the teal polka dots or the black, but the black feels a little bit heavy based on what we have going on here. So I am going to use the teal in this case, and I'll set these aside. And now I'm going to take that teal mat, and I'm going to use the small circle and the green blade. So I've got, again, the small circle with the green blade, and I'm just going to cut around this like so. And I'm going to come back over here to our layout, and now I am going to place this large circle here in the center. And do you guys see how it covers up? It goes right to the corner of each mat. So if you overcut, this circle right here is going to cover up any of those overcuts. So we're just going to go ahead and adhere this piece flat. Centering it with all these corners here, like so. And then what we'll do is we'll take this guy and we will go ahead and place him in the center of this. But if you guys know me well, you know that I can't complete a layout without using some amount of foam squares. So as you see, that piece is centered both vertically and horizontally. You could use either side, doesn't really matter. So we're just gonna add in a couple of the large photo squares. Hashtag foam squares for the win. Like I said, if you know me well, you know I have a love and passion for foam squares. All right, so we're just gonna turn this over and we're going to center this on that piece there, like so. So now you're looking at this, and we could be done the way it is. So like going back to this layout here, using this with the Daydreamer collection, this is the pattern on this would allow us to go ahead and journal right on the paper. Well, the pattern on this would not allow us to do that. So we want to make sure we have a space to journal. So what I'm going to do is there's this mat here that's got a little bit of a grid on it. I'm just going to cut this in strips. I'm going to cut it into like a 1 1/4 inch strip, maybe even 1 1/2. Let's go 1 1/2, and we're going to want 2 of them because we need to balance the sides of this layout. So we're going to take these strips and we are going to, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of repositionable on the bottom here. I'm going to lift up where I put this circle here, and I'm going to tuck this underneath here. I'm going to center it on this arm of the plus, and just then center it from top to bottom, and then align it with the edge there. Okay, so now we have a paper that can be journaled on, but that looks silly. It doesn't balance the layout. So now we're going to take the second one and we're going to do the same thing on this side. So we'll just lift that up. If you wanted, you could adhere these before the circles if you knew that you were going to be needing them. So we'll just adhere those on that side there. So now you have a space where you can journal either or both. So your photo sizes for these, the mats are 3.5 by 5.5. So you could add a photo that's 3 by 5 to the tops of these mats, both vertically and horizontally. So again, this is using the Picture This collection. Again, 1 piece of designer paper and 1 sheet of cardstock. So I'm going to go back, just recap. This is using the Daydreamer collection, and this is using the Beneath the Pines collection. And then this one here is using the Genuine collection. So it is suitable for you to use any collection with this. If it's a collection that does not have the mats, you certainly can just add stickers, or you can still cut paper for the center and add stickers as your embellishments along there. All right, you guys, hope you enjoyed this layout, and until we see each other again, love and blessings to each one of you.